talk today about math strategies and what you guys do in the classroom. So typically what age grade levels do you guys have? You've not started yet, so it doesn't know.
We're high school.
You're high school. Okay, but you have kids who probably need addition, subtraction, multiplication.
Yeah, we do
Okay.
basic math. And
Okay.
numbers.
So I'm gonna help you guys with that, but also if you ever need it for like algebra, feel free to contact me. I'm StephanieKidd@theholler.org. The one thing I will help you with is if they need like manipulatives or algebra, because I use these with algebra too, okay? And it's a lot easier to teach with a manipulative than it is sometimes giving them just an abstract number. So I teach with the CSA approach, and the CSA approach means I have to have something in my hands, manipulatives, right? I have to be able to move it. And then I also do drawings, tape diagrams, those kind of things. You're going to do all that today, okay? I promise you. And then the last thing is abstract. I teach them that it's about the numbers, right? So this is what I mean by this is concrete. I give them examples, right? I don't like using like teddy bear counters or anything. So I love the bead string here that you have, this big bead string. And I absolutely love these two-sided counters. By the way, if I take your stuff, remind me to give it back to you. Okay, and then I teach them how to draw it out. Okay, if they can't draw it out, I ask them to help me draw it out. Or I give them little bits of things that they can like stick together. Okay, so sometimes I take these little counters that you have and I put Velcro on the back of them, and then they put them on there. So that helps a lot for our kids. And also, like for the bead strings, one of the things I use, and it's the most expensive thing you can buy, clothespins, because they're great. And so if they can just show me again, we'll take that, right? So I don't have to really make it hard for our kids. How many of you guys have to teach money, counting coins specifically? All right, if you have to teach counting coins, I'm going to show you a trick today you're going to love. So I promise you.
I'm the
you'll love
devil
it.
when it comes to counting money babies. I'll do it.
Well, I get it, I understand, but after today, you'll want to do it, because it's going to be fun. And then I turn it into what does it actually look like. Okay? So, manipulatives we're going to use today. You're going to have your wonderful bead string. By the way, this is my favorite. Y'all don't know, this is my absolute favorite thing. I love to teach math with a bead string. So, Unifix cubes, you should have those already in your little baggie, but if you don't, let me just grab you a couple and then you can have them. Yeah, you want that one on the other side. Okay.
I just want to start she already knows her things. She already knows them.
No.
She's on the
Right here. Yes. Okay, here's your sum. So, and I want you to have 100 because our kids really need to understand what's in 100. So you're going to have 100 today. All right, so we're going to use Unifix cubes. We're going to use those counters that you have on the table, okay? And then I told you if we get time, we'll talk about algebra tiles. I don't know that we'll have some time because we're going to do a lot of cool games.
Okay.
And then, of course, a tape measure. Why would I want to use a tape measure? Fractions. What else?
I hate fractions.
I love fractions.
You should see me.
They're just a number on the number line. But why would I use a tape measure? And I love these, okay? Because a tape measure is just a number line, right? It is just a number line. And on the back, if you notice on the back of your tape measure, it goes by tens. And then it starts back over at 1. So they have to know that 10 and 1 is 11. They have to know that 10 and 2 is 12. They have to know that 10 and 3 is 13. I've got a...
Okay, so you're good.
Are you guys coming in here with us?
Yeah.
Awesome. Will, can you make sure that they need dice and they need a number 1 and then they need the one with dot, the 2 with the dot on it. They're new people. All right. So let me grab you guys some stuff real quick. And so I just talked about the fact that we have a number line, and that number line is your tape measure. And the cool thing about that tape measure is if You always have it with you. You always have a number line with you. So that you never have to worry about that. The other thing is that we use is bead strings. And what you'll notice about the bead string is that I missed. Okay. There is 100 of these on here. They're done in 10, so we can count by 10s, right? So that's really cool. But if we need to go smaller, we can. We absolutely can. Dion, I need on this, at this table, I think the rest of those. Yeah, each person needs one of those here at this table. I need 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yay! Your superintendent, a good friend of mine, I hunt on his
I have to go
farm.
back to my desk. No, they need the whole packet.
Mr. Cornish.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been friends for a long time. We actually play golf together. That's my son's home course out there at Sag Hollow.
Where y'all from?
Yeah.
Elders.
Owsley County.
Owsley.
Where y'all from?
Ledger.
Okay, yay!
My husband likes to hang out with him too.
There's a bead string that we
In fact, my son has had a lady owl friend out there in Owsley.
If we need a few more of those, I can get them. I think she already has them.
But I think she's lost it.
Okay.
Probably know her.
Okay, so the things we're gonna use, guys, you have in front of you. You have those for you to put in a baggie and carry with you. There are some things I always keep in my back pocket, as I say, but it's actually in my backpack. One of those things is a set of cards, and the other thing is, well, actually there's two. A thing of dice, and then I always have my tape measure, right? Because I always want to have my number line with me. I want to be ready. So if I'm teaching fractions, I have ability to teach fractions. If I'm teaching addition, I just roll it out, and the kids can use it to be able to count with, right? Teaching subtraction, same thing. Multiplication, same thing. And I try to keep, these get kind of bulky, but I try to keep a thing of clothespins with me because I need the kids to snap where they're at. And that also works with that pincher grasp that most kids don't have. And so I want them to have that opportunity. Also, Will, there is a set of cards on the table that give each person a set of cards. All right, so semi-concrete means I need to draw it out. Like I told these ladies earlier, sometimes my kids can't draw. If you're working with some of our students who are low incidence, they have trouble drawing that out. But one of the things they can do is help you with that. So maybe you need to put things on Velcro. Sometimes we need to give them the opportunity to do the pincher thing on a number line. Any of those things that they can do will help, right? And it gets them understanding. We want them to do jumps on a number line. That's the reason why I use these. And I literally have them to pinch it on there. And so they can see the jumps on the number line that's happening. I try to use the same colors for them so they can see how it's progressing. Or sometimes if I'm doing subtraction, we're starting over here and this is the blue, right? This is where we're starting. I'm taking away, so I use red, right? So I try to color code for them too. And then of course in the back of your book that you have is a number chart. Go ahead and pull that out because you will need that today. Games that we're going to play that's going to help you with fluency. I'm running out of time. It's kind of scary. But games that we're going to play with fluency, and I had my second cup. My second cup. Are they over there? They're over there?
No, we didn't.
Well, well, sorry. So you should have a red Solo cup. If you don't, please get these. I like red Solo cups because they're better than bags, because my kids don't break them as easy. I like a red Solo cup because of the fact that it's pretty durable and I can wash it really easy if I need to, and they're cheap, right? Red Solo cups are cheap. We're going to play a couple of games today. You have your Unifix cubes on your table that you have, so grab one set of 10 at least out real quick. So while you're at it, grab your Unifix cubes. They're those little squares that are stacked together. Pull out one set of 10. Okay? One of the things that you also have is a sheet of paper. Draw a line straight down the middle of that sheet of paper. Draw a line right down the middle of that paper.
And everybody here this time.
I'm pretty sure, Lisa.
And we'll give everybody at this table.
Pull off at least 2 of these. Everybody at this table, please pull off 2 of one of these, which is all you want. And then, make sure you grab one of these. Now, I ask you to draw a line down the center of the table because we are going to play a game called Shake and Spill. Okay, we are not gambling. We are not doing any of that stuff. But we are going to play Shake and Spill. For my kids, they tend to argue about which side sometimes it lands on. So I always put something that's a little thicker down the center of my page like this, so it has to fall on one side or the other, right? Can't argue about which side it's on if I have something thicker down the middle of my page. The other thing is I use these wonderful wiki sticks. Why do I use wiki sticks? Because they stick. They're reusable. I can use them over and over again. So I stick them and I make them my line. And if I pick it up, I move it around, I flop it around, guess what? It's still there. So I use a wiki stick sometimes for my center. Hopefully nobody needs the password to that table later. But anyway. So, and I can connect them. So no matter how big my sheet of paper is, that is it, right? I have my line. So just a good graphic organizer for your kids to have when you need them. Also, wiki sticks are good if you're teaching kids to write and they're going way outside the lines. Stick these on the line and they have to stay within there, and it's a bumper. So there, I gave y'all an extra tip that wasn't even math. All right, Dion's like, thank you very much. So, go ahead, count off, and have yourself 8, okay? 8 of one color, all one color. I don't care which color it is, just need 8. Put them in your cup, but break them apart. Now, everybody's got 8, right? You need to count again. Now, I want to tell you this. If you've got kids who are not comfortable with counting in cardinality, one of the things I love is I get them to start counting, but you cannot count until you hear it drop. So we're going to practice this together, everybody. We can all count to 8, right? No problems here. So we're going to count to 8 real quickly. Everybody's attention, and here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When did I count? When I heard it hit. So we're going to practice that again. Everybody's eyes up here. You're not going to drop today. You're just listening for the count. And I want to hear your voices. Here we go. Ready? Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Good job. All right. So one of the things that we want to make sure they're doing is they're hearing it, right? We want to make sure they can count when they hear it. And if I can't do this, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because how many of your kids do that? Don't tell me you haven't had kids do that, because I know, because I have. I've had just about a bunch of my kids do that. And so this way, if you can only count when you hear it, I'm actually counting with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can't count till I hear it. So it stops them, it pauses them. They can't get ahead, okay? That gives them that opportunity. Same thing with this wonderful bumper. I can't say the number until I hit it. 1, 2, 3, 4, touched it. How many was there? 4, right? I had my number, I didn't have to worry about it, and I can't say the number until I feel it touch. So, now, those are some extras I'm giving you, because here's how shake and spill works. How many was in the cup? 8. And we're going to spill ours onto the container, and we're going to divide them up. Now, here's what I teach my kids. We read, how do we read? Right to left or left to right? Left to right. We're going to call this off left to right. So whatever's on the left side is what you're going to call off first. Then you're going to call off what is on the right side. Again, it has to equal how many? Because how many did we drop out? 8. So we're going to start over here at this table. Tell me what's on your left side.
4.
How many's on your right side?
4.
So 4 plus 4 equals 8. What do you have?
6.
6. 6 plus 2 equals 8. Now I'm writing this on a piece of paper for my kids, right? Because these are all different at this point. But they all equal what?
8.
What do you have?
5 and 3.
5 and 3. Okay. What did you have? Starting over here. What do you have?
3 and 5.
3 and 5. We gotta make sure we start at that left, right? What do you have? Ooh, somebody else had 4 and 4. Did I not hear 3 and 5, or did I hear 5 and 3?
5 and 3.
Oh, now we can talk about the community property, right? Because there's nowhere outside of when you guys are teaching them that they actually hear that vocabulary. So I know it's a little hard sometimes for us to incorporate it, but they gotta hear it. Because guess what happens on that state test? They're gonna say, find the community property. Your kids have never heard that word, what happens? Can't call it the switch. We gotta call it what it is, because they've never heard. Believe me, it's on there. And it's a problem for our kids if they have not heard the language enough. Because nobody goes out of your classroom and says, oh honey, did you see those add-ins, and when we put them together there was a sum? Nobody uses that language outside of your math class. So we gotta make sure that we're using it all the time in math class, because that's the only time they're hearing it. That's the bad thing about it. So one of the things that we want to make sure we do is we use those words. Now, she said she had 3 and 5. She said she had 5 and 3. That's the community property. Look at that. What do you have? 4 and 4. We heard that one before. What else do we have? 2 and 6. Does somebody have 6 and 2? Oh, look at there. Another community property. What do we have here?
3 and 5.
3 and 5. Wow, that seems to be coming up a lot, right? All right. And she has 5 and 3. So we can talk about that as we go through. Nobody had 1 and 7, right? But that's another one that we could do, and you can show it for them. So those are just one way to do shake and spill. And again, I'm going to only use the numbers my kids are comfortable with, because I'm building fluency. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So if my kid's only comfortable with numbers 1 through 6, what numbers should I be using? 1 through 6. Good job. All right. So the next one we're going to do is called wall. Now the cool thing about wall is you really know when a kid's good and fluent. So we're going to, again, let's take 1 out. We're going to practice with 7. So take 1 out and put it back in your cup. And take the other ones. And this is my table in front of me. And I'm going to line these up this away from me, right in a row, big enough that I can put my hand between. Okay? I want to be able to put my hand there, so line them up big enough that you can put your hand between them. I don't think my table's big enough, guys. Maybe my hands need to get smaller. Don't think that's happening either. Okay. So you have them lined up. They are going away from you. Is it easy to see that if you're kind of down here at it? Is it really easy to see that? It's pretty easy to see it. But what happens when I put my hand in front of something? Can I see the rest of them behind it? Oh no, we start losing some visual, don't we? This is important because we are working with that missing add-in, the hardest thing that we have to do. So, how many is here? 7. We know that if the kids need to, we are going to count them 1 on 1 again. Remember, they can't say the number until they touch it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have to touch it, right? And we're going to slow down, as slow as they need them. That's the hard part for us. We want them to learn so much, right? But when we really get quick with them sometimes, we lose them. They can't process that fast, right? I mean, Truthfully, sometimes I have to look at people and go, say it again, because I haven't processed it. So let's think about our kids who have a learning disability, our kids that are tier 3, they're not processing as quick, so we have to slow them down. We have to slow down for them. So giving that chance for them to catch up for us. So okay, everybody's got this? I want you to literally wall off number 2. Now, we've walled off 2. How many's past the wall? 5, right? 2 and 5 is 7, right? We say that 2 and 5 is 7. So they keep that in their head, right? Or 2 plus 5 is 7. And I'm saying is, not equal, because it's a combination, right? We can go on later as they get more comfortable with it, and we'll say 2 and 5 equal 7. Wall off 4. Did you automatically go up to 4, or did you have to count? All right, sometimes we have to count, we have to look. So if I wall off 4, how many is past 4? 3. So 4 and 3 is 7. And we had them to say it, because they have to be verbal. The other thing that we want them to do all the time is to verbally talk to us back as much as we possibly can. If they can't, if they're not verbal, and they can pick a card so that I can pick 4, I can pick 3, or I can point to 3, and then I can point to 7. That's another way to get them started. How many of you guys have kids who may have, and some of you may not know yet, that you have they have a card or something that they use every day as a PEX program, which is a picture program. If you have kids like that who are nonverbal, right, they may need pictures. And one of the things they may need is some numbers set out for them on the bottom of their PEX program. So when you're talking about 2, they point to 2, right? I give them 2 items, and I say, where's 2? And they point to 2. Things like that will help your kids if they're nonverbal. And you may have a child who has a processing problem that they can maybe not be able to process it verbally as quick, but they can process it by being able to show. So don't limit our kids, is what I'm saying. All right, what I want to say about wall is when we say we're walling off, if I say, we've got how many on here again?
6.
And I say, okay, wall off 6, and they automatically go and just leave 1, you know that kid's got the understanding of 7, right? They automatically just go up here and go, and you're like, oh, look at that. They know 6 and 1 is 7, look at there. And so that's the big aha moment you have. Or you say 5 and they automatically just push 2 up and put their finger down in there. And it's like, oh, yep, we've got this. They didn't have to think about it, right? They got it. So that's the moments that we all live for, right? Those are the moments. And then we're ready to move on to 8. We're ready to move on to 9. You know, we can go up to 10. If you're working with younger kids, start with them 5, okay? If they don't know 5, make sure you get those numbers within 5. Then go to 10. Then move up to 15. Then go to 20, and then you can move to 50. Because when we get within 20, we've really got a good understanding of them, so we can start moving on, right? So that is wall. The next one we're going to do is cave. Well, cave is back to your solo cut. Oh, y'all love these. Put your 8 back in here. Make sure you got your 8. Cave is just what it sounds like. We're going to make a cave. So we're going to flip this all over. And you're going to pull some out. How many did we say was in here? 8. So you stick it under there, your choice. Pull some out now. How many did you pull out?
2.
So how many's in your cup?
6.
6. And how do you know that? Oh, look, 2 plus 6 is 8. Here we go. She's like, I know. If I don't know, can you count? Can you pick up your cup and count? Absolutely, it's a self-check. It's a self-check. I can do this. So, how many did you pull out? Everybody here at this table pulled out 2. Their minds are the same. What'd you pull out? 4. How many's in your cup? 4. Everybody over here pull out 4. How many did you pull out? And how many's in your cup? See, this is a real quick, easy way. This is caves. Kids love this one, especially around Halloween time because these become bats in the cave. They can be skeletons in the cave. You know, it's all good things like that. So this is one of the games that my kids absolutely love, and I'm teaching them about that missing add-in, which is the hardest part. Okay, it really is the hardest part in addition. And it's part of that subtraction. I had 8, I've got 4 out. How many's left? Yeah, so we have all those. The next one is roll and add. So you have some dice on yours. This is real simple. Now I gave you 2 different types of dice. You should have had one that was a solid that has just the numbers on it. Please tell me you got those if you did not. Oh, do you have a solid that's got numbers on it? And then you should have 2 that have just the dots, right? I love when my kids can roll those and they automatically know that 5 is 5 and 6 is 6 and 2 and those kind of things. But our kids don't know that anymore because they don't play enough games like Yahtzee and Candyland and those kind of things. That's all about mathematics. So if you want to do some of those games, make sure that your kids have that ability to do those. If I got any young moms in here right now, or young grandmas, however you want to be, please play games with your kids that require things like dice, okay? Because you are building so many math skills when we do that. And if you're in a classroom, there is nothing wrong with playing some games that build math skills. Because that's all, I did a lot of games and my kids saw so much growth just through these type of games in my classroom. All right, so you got those 2 dice. Roll them. Again, we're working left to right. So on the left side of your left dice, what do you have? What do you have? 2. 2. On your right side, you have?
6.
So 2 plus 6 is?
8.
Oh, that just worked out right with the other one. What do you have on your left? What do you have on your left?
3.
3. And you have?
6.
And that makes? You have?
6.
And?
3.
And that makes? We roll dice and we just add. We're getting all of those numbers within 10. Those 2 just had the community property. We can talk about that. How many times did you have the community property on your table as they're writing? One of the things I make them do as often as they can, if they can write, they write the problem out. Right? So they're rolling and they're writing it. How many problems could they do within 15 minutes? If you've got the ones that automatically have, you haven't used these, instead you use these. If you've used a number, so I give them a number in one of these, and I make them say the number first, then they have the opportunity to actually count on, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Look at there, opportunity to count on very quickly for our students. So by changing these up, that's why I gave you a number one. By changing these up, you have that opportunity to start giving your kids that to do. And so they have to hold that number in their head. That's hard. It's hard to hold that number in their head and think about what's the next number. All right. Roll and multiply. It's the same thing. Just roll it. Roll your 2. Now, this is where I get real picky. I'm picky all the time. My husband tells me I am very princessy. All right, so what do you have for your first number?
2.
What do you have for your second?
1.
I say this is 2 groups of 1. If she has 2 groups of 1, 1 group, right? That's 2 groups. There's 1 in each one. How many do I have?
2.
Using that vocabulary because that's the way multiplication is supposed to be. 2 groups of something, right? And so this is 2 groups of 1. What do you have?
4 and 6.
Say that way I just said it.
4 groups of 6.
It's 4 groups of 6, so what would that be?
4.
Again.
1 and 4.
1 group of 4. So how many is that? 4. See how we're saying that? Now you do yours.
2 and 1.
So 2.
2 groups of 1.
2 groups of 1.
3.
So 3 groups of 1. What do you have? 4 groups of 1. You?
1 group of 6.
1 group of 6. 2 groups of, okay. 5 groups of 5. See how easy that is for us to start using that vocabulary very quickly? But what is my kid doing when I said 2 groups of 1? I'm picturing 2 groups, 1 in each one, right? I can also demonstrate that very quickly by having our wonderful solo cups. You had 2 groups of 1. How many many do you have?
2.
See how quickly that is? I got some solo cups. They're quick and easy to use. If not, here's your next thing. Save your egg cartons. Because guess how many is in an egg carton? Well, unless you buy the half of it. Then, but guess what I can do in that egg carton? I can drop those in. I got 2 groups of 2. I look at my 2 sections. I drop them in, right? You have beads in your bag. You can use those to drop in there. They can start to count. It's very easy for us to use an egg carton to do those kind of things. Thank you so much, by the way. Now, the next one we're going to do is keep within 20. You have a set of cards at your table. Did they not give you cards? Will, did you not give up your cards? Did you give up cards?
Yes.
The last table did give cards.
Oh, I've got the party.
It's okay, people forget about us all the time.
They do not have cards.
I
Okay.
was just,
Or
I
we'll let it know.
thought it was just, just this table, that didn't have cards. You have a color preference, red or blue?
It doesn't matter.
Go through your cards right now and take the jokers out. You can use the jokers, but you can use them as one. Just be another pack of cards I got to play with. That's what my kids say. We're just playing in mathematics. We're just playing it as kids are in such a lot. They're learning mathematics. Take your jokers out and go ahead and mix them up. Oh, go ahead and take out the kings, queens, and jacks. Because aces are 1. Okay? Aces are 1. Now it's really hard sometimes to think through, but aces automatically have that 1 on there, so if my kids need it, they have it. You're going to pair up in just a minute too. So actually you 3 are perfect together, so you guys just stay where you're at. You are perfect together. Okay, I'm going to divide you guys up. So 1, 2, and 3 are going to be together, and you guys are 3 and you're going to be together, okay? Alright. So the first thing we're going to play is keep it within 20. This is a solo game, or it can be a partner game, okay? But mostly it's a solo game. To play keep it within 20, as I piece these cards up, if I have kids who need integers, so they're working with negative numbers, reds are always negative, okay? And the reason I talk about my kids always needing negative numbers, and if I'm working with negative numbers at any point, I always talk about negative numbers are red. Because what happens when you get in the negative numbers in the bank account? What does it change? It changes to red. If you get a little slip out of the bank and it says you don't have any more money, what color is it?
Red.
Red. So I always associate that with money, okay? It's the easiest way to teach my kids. A good example, I'm gonna give you this one for free today. If I talk to my kids, I always start out with, you have chores at home. We hope they have chores at home. You have some chores at home. Mom says she's going to pay you $1 for every chore you do this week. There are some things you have to do every day. There are some things you only have to do once a week, and that's fine. We don't take out the trash every day, or I don't, because we don't have that much trash as me and my husband. So we don't take the trash out every day, but we need to take it out 3 times a week, right? So I should take the trash out 3 times a week. If you do not take the trash out 3 times a week, you owe mom money. That becomes a negative. So on Tuesday, if you forget to take the trash out, that you pay mom. It becomes a negative. And I put it up in a big, bright, red negative number, right? It's a -1. On Thursday, you forgot to take the trash out again. Mom had to do it. That's a big, bright negative. Oh, but on Monday, you walked the dog. That was $1. Tuesday, you walked the dog. That's another one. On Tuesday, you put your clothes up. That's another one. So, technically, if you had done all your chores to this time, you would have had $5. Right? But instead, how much money are you going to have? 3, because we have 2 negatives, and so that's money you have to pay back to mom. So we start having those conversations around that. And so they get a chance to do that. But so negatives are always red. If I'm subtracting, it's a red, okay? So that's the way we're gonna look at it for right now. So to keep it within 20 means the number you get has to stay within 20, okay? So I always start out with a positive number, and I always make sure that they have a good positive number. Now remember, it has to say 0 within 20. So if you go back too far, right? If you go to -1, -2, -3, you're a bust. You have to start all back over. If you go past 20, 21, 22, you're a bust. You have to start over. Okay? So I'm going to start out with 5. You can pick whatever positive number you want. Don't care. So, as I'm doing this, have them turn the cards over. And I'm hoping I shuffled these real good. I probably didn't. But it'll be a good example. So I got 5. I'm going to turn up 2. I got 6 and 7. I'm going to say I'm going to add 7, which is going to put me at 12. Right? Now, still got the 6 here. It stays. I'm going to pull another one. I'm going to pull just another one here. I'm at 12. I can add 4 or add 6. Which one should I do? You say add 6?
I said it.
Okay. So 12 plus 6 is 18. Better hope I get a negative. Got a negative. Okay, got a subtraction here. I've got how much again? I got 18, right? 18, I can subtract 8 or I can add 4. Now some kids will be like, oh, I'm going to add 4. And you're going to have to say, let's think about that. I don't give them an answer and say that's over. I want them to think about that, right? And I'll say, maybe you want to look at that on a number line. If I'm adding 4 or on a beat string, right? Or if I take 8 away, am I going to stay within 20? So don't give them an answer, but give them a question back. That'll help you out a whole lot with making them start to reason through it. And it takes away some of that learned helplessness that our kids get when they get a problem they don't know. They automatically just come and go, hey, can you help me with this? Starts taking away from that, right? When I ask them another question back. You tried that with it? Have you tried that with a big string?
Problem is,
You want to help?
no.
Oh.
I've learned a totally different way of how math is now. So words that I use are not the same that they have now. Like, I borrow,
Yeah,
take
instead of,
away,
I'm going to
and there's-
regroup.
Yeah, regroup, and,
Borrow. I'm like, never mind.
you know, and we don't,
I'm going to regroup. It's getting that vocabulary for yourself so that I can help the kids along. So can we see how this can go? And I can bust real quick, or I can continue on. Now I have the kids to write this down and they keep a running total of it. Or I let them use the bead string and they move back and forth on the bead string to where they are at so they know where they're at, okay? And so giving them that chance to do that. So go ahead, play through for about 2 minutes. I'm gonna let you play through real quick for about 2 minutes and then we're gonna play another game. I went way back. So this is keep within 20. This is the reason I love this, because if I've got a kid and they're in a classroom and there's downtime, what happens during downtime? They get loud. They also get in trouble. And I can always pull out a game of a thing of cards and say, here, let's sit here real quietly and let's play keep it within 20, right? I can play that very easily within that. The other thing I like to do is if I've got a student with me and it's just me and that student, how many of you guys walk students out to regular classrooms? Anybody gonna go out to, sometimes you have them in the regular classroom and it's just you, maybe 1 or 2 other students? One of the things that I like to do is have cards with me, because if we're working on our multiplication tables, or I do this walking down the hallway to keep them from, touching everything, I'll say, here's your card. Okay, take my card. So just take one. No. And I'll say, okay, here's my card. We're working on our multiplication tables, right? And I'll say, I've got 7 groups of what? 6. I got 7 groups of 6. What do you think that is for multiplication? That's okay. But what can that student do because it has 6? It can count those how many times? 7 times. And that will get us all the way to the lunchroom, believe it or not, as we're walking. Guess who hasn't got in trouble all the way to the lunchroom? Exactly. Or, let's say that we're doing addition, it's the same thing, right? And I go up to them and I say, okay, here's your card. We're walking down the hallway. So we're gonna work on addition today. Remember, we're working on addition. Oh, what's your card? 4, we're adding 8. How much is that? And she's gonna say, well, she said 12 right off the bat because she's, one of the smart kids. Anyway, that kid may have to say, okay, I don't know. So we'll come up and I'll handle that card. Now I can walk back and talk to another kid, do the same thing, right? And by the time I get to the lunchroom, I stop them at the door. We always stop them at the door, right? We always stop at the door. And I say, okay, what was your answer? What was your answer? What was your answer? What's your answer? Guess how many, guess what I just got done?
And then they go home, like, just get it, they play cards.
Exactly. And it's fine, because when the mom calls me up and says, hey, what did my kids do today? My kids said the only thing we did today was play cards. Yeah, absolutely. We worked on all kinds of addition. Right? We worked on all kinds of addition today. And you know what they know now? When I handed them today 5 plus 6, they know 11. So I've got that, right? It wasn't a worksheet. My kids hated worksheets. Right? They hate worksheets. But if I give them cards, they'll do 25 or 30 problems and not even think about it. But I give them a worksheet and they shut down because what? It's overwhelming. It's a lot of problems on a page. I cut my worksheets up. I cut them up. I gave them 5 at a time. Or I gave them 2 at a time if that kid couldn't handle it. I only have to do 2. Then I'd walk right behind, I'd take those 2 and I'd give them 2 more. They were only having to do 2. It keeps them engaged, but it doesn't overwhelm. So we need to do that for our kids because our kids who have some processing issues, our kids who, that's just a lot, taking that away from them. Taking that anxiety. How do you feel when you get handed a multiplication test? How do you feel? How do you feel? No, seriously, how do you feel when you get a multiplication test put in front of you and they say 1 minute? I'm overwhelmed. I'm automatically overwhelmed. I hate time tests, right? I hate math because it's time. Don't do that to your kids, right? Let's not do that to them because when I do that, I'm automatically just shutting them down. They're not going to open up. They're not going to want to talk to me. So let's not do that. Let's give them a way for them to do math, feel secure, build on that, and go on. All right, next one. Flip and multiply. It's the same thing, but we're doing all kinds of problems. Flip the first one, flip the second one, we're just multiplying. Now, if you've got kids who are in middle school, kids who are in, well, actually 5th grade and up, this becomes a negative number. That's all that is. So it's negative 8 times 4, negative 32, right? They had that opportunity to do that. But if they're not ready for that and they're just multiplying, this is just 8. Got it?
Negative times 96 is 12.
See, right there she goes. All right, next one. Salute. This is 3 of you. We're going to have some conversations. I told you who was in groups already. Can you 2 help me out here? Will y'all be willing to stand up here and help me out? They're going to demonstrate. They're so pretty. Look at my beautiful Vannas. Here we go.
Which I got paid like Vanna.
Really? All right. These are my beautiful Vannas. One of the things I'm willing to do is they're going to pick a card, and they're going to hold on to that card, okay? They can't look at it. Have y'all played the game where you have to stick a thing on your head and somebody else has to take one? All right. That's what we're going to do. Now, you can look at hers, because she's going to have it on her head. But you can't look at your own.
Okay.
So you're going to hold it down here, and when I say salute, you're going to do this. That's why it's called salute, okay? So, grab a card, whichever one you want. We're not going to do negatives, okay? We're just going to add, okay? So, salute, put it on your head. All right. Your sum, which is the total of these 2, is 9. So you can look at hers.
You want me to tell you what mine is?
Yes.
8.
Mine's an ace.
Yours is an ace or a 1, right? And so they automatically knew that. What? It's okay.
I asked her how she knew.
And she looked exactly.
I knew what mine was.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So anyway, this is they have to do it in groups. Did you hear what I said? I said, my sum is, right? I will gradually get them to say, my add-in is, right?
Is 8.
Yes, and so we are using that vocabulary. We're doing that. We could do this with multiplication. I could have said, as they can look at it, no, we're thinking multiplication.
No.
Your product is 8. So what would you have? Because you know she's a 1.
8.
She would have an 8. Do you see how that works? I want you to take just a few minutes within your group. One person chooses the cards. That person gets the easy part. Whoever has the cards in the hand is the easy part because the other people are finding the missing. So I'm literally giving you 1 minute because we are running out of time.
Yeah. Whatever it is, I
I'll play back here. All right, y'all play. Remember, you got 1 minute. Who's playing?
Her card plus one.
What's their sum?
There you go.
What's their sum?
If you add both of them.
You gonna do it again?
Okay, you say salute.
So my 4.
Seven plus 4 is 12. Gladly. I didn't get it either. Don't feel bad. Jesus, help us.
I need my card back.
They're going to write 9 plus 2.
You're together is. She said you're together is.
We all work on the same.
I had a 4. She said you're together is 5. So she said 2 and I had a 4 on mine. Listen. My ribs are hurting. Okay, just like you're going to take the children. What do that mean?
trying to know.
No, you don't know this. You got
If we
you got your own card.
Here, you all pick.
Or it's something
Oh, God.
that, so right on the board and they copy it, or it's something that you just.
You're together is.
If they can't write, they have trouble writing.
Really?
Have it where they can highlight things, or like I said before, they got some cards. Let them pick the card.
Make 7. What do you?
No,
have?
what?
Get your fingers out. Okay, yeah.
Don't make it, are you?
I think it's back to school. No, I need to go back on it.
Help us all.
We've been out of school. Our easy path. No,
And it can be as simple as.
I told you.
You play so hard you blew it in.
She'll put it in, but that means just ain't nothing to go back in.
All right, so you've had a chance to play salute. We've done all of these games up here on the board. Look at you guys. You're fabulous. All right, so I'm going to go on because I want you to think about using questions, right? I don't want you giving kids answers. I don't want you working with them at first because then we're taking away their productive struggle. We have to struggle some. I want to tell you a secret. I learned things the hard way, all right? I think we all have to learn things the hard way sometimes, but we have to struggle a little bit to learn them. So giving our kids that chance, one of the things I always start with when a kid has a word problem is what do you see? I can't be wrong about what I see. I don't know what I don't know, but what do you see? So we start there, and then that gives them a way into the problem, right? And if I've got a way in, I'm more than willing at that point to try to figure it out. So some questions that you can ask. What do you notice? Started out with that. What additional information would be helpful? I ask, is there a manipulative you can use? Number line, whatever it may be. The other thing that I want to make sure is I'm using the correct vocabulary. I know our kids don't always have the chance to hear my vocabulary, so I want to make sure they know it. But these questions here, they are available for you, okay? They are in that PowerPoint, in that session thing. Use them. They are your friends. Vocabulary, again, if you don't know it, take some time to look it up. But the other thing is, if you need a good site for vocabulary, I'm going to tell you right now, hold on to this one, it's another freebie. A good site for vocabulary is Granite vocabulary cards. They're actually cards that you can print off or download, and they have the vocabulary word, they have the definition, and they have an example. It's like, oh, look at here, all in one. So, next one. We're gonna work on some word problems. Oh, no, I need to show you the beach string. So we're gonna work on, Alex, you're usually like this. So come here.
Okay.
He's gonna be my guinea pig. So we're gonna use the word, I need another Vanna White, besides Alex. Alex is a beautiful Vanna White. Who wants to be my Vanna White? Come on up here, beautiful. That one. She's gonna be my Vanna White. This bead string has how many on it again, did I say a while ago? 100. 100, that's the wonderful thing about it. We are going to do addition. We are going to count. We are going to count by tens. We're going to count by twos. We're going to do all that because I can quickly slide this over and I can count, right? 2, 4, 6. I'm going to tell you a trick I did to mine. So I had a big one of these and it was above my head and I used perforated golf balls, right? My kids had these on their desk. I took mine and every fifth one, I put a dot on it so I could quickly, the kids thought I was magic. It was great. But anyways, I could quickly find where my fives were. But that's the reason I did that. It's just for my sake of knowing where my fives were. I don't want my kids to have that, but some of my kids figured out my cheat after a while, so it was pretty cool. But one of the things I can do is, let's say I'm doing 22. Here's 20, right? 10 and 10. 2 more. And let's say I'm adding 8. Now, I stopped that right there. Did you see that? And I'm adding 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if my kids know their tens, they automatically know that stop, and look at here, another 10 began, right? I automatically know I've got 30. See how easy that was? So that's addition. Now I'm going to move back. We're going to do this with subtraction. Let's say my number is 34. Now, all of these are gone away. And I'm taking away 10. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did you hear me count? When did I count? When it hit. Doing that hearing thing again, right? Now, can I see 20 very quickly? 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can do the addition very quickly here. One of the things that this bead string gives me is all addition and subtraction within 100. It also gives me all the multiplication and division within 100. So let's talk about multiplication and division. Now, am I overwhelming you?
No.
It's just I've only got 5 minutes left, so I really want to get this in. All right.
I'm not very good.
So here we go. See, I'm timed. I don't like it. Here we go. So let's say, give me a multiplication within 100.
Ask somebody else.
Ask somebody else. Okay. Let's do 4 times 3. What did you say?
5 times 5.
5 times 5. I can do that one.
Thank you.
So here's one group of 5, because remember what I say 5 times 5 was? 5 groups of 5. Yep, 5 groups of 5. So I need 1 group of 5. I need 2 groups of 5. I need 3 groups of 5. 4 groups of 5. And I need 5 groups of 5. Now if I needed to, I could have counted those each one by 5, right? I just happen to be a little advanced here. And timetable problems. What can I quickly see?
20.
10, 20, and then if I need to, I can count, right? So 5 groups of 5 is here. Let's do one real quick. Let's do 24 divided by 6. Now, that's 24 divided into 6. So I know I'm going to have to pull 6 over. There's 4. There's 6. That's one group. 4, 2 more, that's 6. There's 2 groups. Here's 4 and 2 more, that's 3 groups. And there's another group of 6. So how many groups do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 24 divided by 6 was 4. See how easy it is for my kids to be able to do this? I'm going to tell you, this was a game changer for several of my students being able to have this. One of the things I noticed about them when I would give them a couple of multiplications, they would go get these. Because they were kind of like, you know, Linus is with his blanket, they're going to have it, right? They would go get this, they would use it on about the first 4 problems, and they would notice they were right, and they would just go ahead and do the rest of them. But it was okay. They felt like they needed that security, and then they didn't. After a while, they quit going to get it, right? Because I didn't need it. But it was great to see the change in them when they were like, oh, I already know that one, I already know that one, I already know that one, because they've done it. Practice when made right, practice when they're right makes them get to the point of fluency and automaticity, and that's what we want. All right, so that's my beat string. Again, we can count by 10s, we can count by 2s, we can count by 5s. There's that. Hold on, we're not done yet, guys. We're gonna play a game. Alex and I are gonna play a game. Well, I'm putting him on the spot here. We're gonna go back to back. We're playing a game called War. Alex, pull off some, however many you want, and give me the rest. Okay, so Alex is gonna count his. He's not gonna tell me what they are though. He's gonna count them, make sure he knows how many's there. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 63. 63, and put that in my head, right? This is how many I've got. I got 63. So I'm gonna say, okay, Alex, you must have, now if I think about 63 to make to 70, I would need how many more? To make to 70, I need 7, right? So you must have 37.
Correct.
Look at there. Addition within 100, very quickly and easily.
So does that mean
That's
you
what
won?
this, no,
Okay.
because we're gonna, you do one.
Okay.
You would have to get, and he would have to tell me how many I have, right? So we're just two of us sitting here playing this game. We're gonna write down 63 plus 37 equals 100. I'm circling 63. He's circling 37 because all of them's gonna equal how much? Now, if my kids aren't ready for 100, I can pull these off and only have 10 on here. I can have 20 on here. I can have 30 on here if that's what they're ready for. But I can have however is needed on here. I just put the rest of them in a bag again. I put them back on there later. That's why they've got just a little bit knot on them. Cool. All right. You're great now. I promised you one more thing, and we didn't even get to the 3 reads. But I promised you one more thing today. Yeah, I'm done with you.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Alex,
No problem.
for being a great sport. Okay. I told these ladies, one of the things that we always struggle with is addition with coins, right? We can't count coins. Our kids struggle. You've got 100 chart. You got the perfect thing. Because 100 is what? $1. Look at there. So if you got 120, it's even better. But we've got 100 chart. Don't let me forget to give you this back. All right. One of the things I need for my kids to know is how much a coin is worth. So we're going to work on that first. So let's say here, we might have to pretend for a minute. Because I don't know if I've got the
This
coin.
is the hardest part. They don't know what the coins are.
Okay. Show them all pieces of it, making sure they know the rough edges and everything so that they can remember those. And give them the opportunity to have a scaffold. Like a quarter is 25 cents, you know, if they need it. All right, so we got a quarter. How much is a quarter? 25. So I can go ahead and put that right at 25, right? Hold that on there. Now, I said we might have to pretend because I don't know if I got a dime in here. Yeah, maybe around. Okay. Oh, I got a dime. Good. So, 25. Now I've got a dime. How much is a dime worth? I had a dime.
10.
I'm like Alexander, who used to be rich last Sunday. 10. So I can quickly count up. I got from 25, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I need to, right? All the way up to 10. Now I'm at 35, right? Look at there, it's on my board. I can see it very quickly. Now I've got a nickel. How much is it worth? 5. And so I can count up 5 more. I'm at 40, right? And then if I had a penny, I'd put it at 41. If I had another penny, I'd put it at 42. If I had another penny, I'd put it at 43. How much change do I have? 43 cents, right? So using this board to help you to count change. It's one of the better things that we have about this board that I want. I want to go through this 3 reads program thing. I may have like 1 more minute. All right, so in 3 reads, I'm going to read through a problem to identify first, okay? I just want to identify what's the information in it. That's all I want to know. What's the information inside of it? Then I want to read to find the question. So now how many times have I read it? Twice. The first time, did I really ask any big questions at all, just other than what's the information in it? I didn't ask for a problem, did I? I didn't ask what the question was. So the second time, I'm going to ask you, well, what's the question it's asking? The third time that I read through it, we're going to determine some more information, and we're going to start to either draw it out or act it out, okay? Acting it out means I've got some kind of manipulative that I've got to, right? So let's go through and let's do one real quick. Don't give up on me yet, guys. So first one, I said I'm ready for information. Let's go through this. So Janine, own catering service. That's something our kids might understand. Our lunchroom ladies, right? They have to do this for our schools. She was hired to cater for the mayor's 50th birthday. We have birthday parties, right? They understand that. I try to make sure they're relevant, right? For dessert, she needs to make 750 mini apple pies. Well, that's a lot, right? She divided her crew, so she's got people who work for her. In the lunchroom, do all of the ladies work in the same place? No, they don't. Some ladies might be doing mashed potatoes, some people are doing bread, some people are doing whatever is needed right there. We divide them up. If the first team is 235 and the second team is 275, made 275, how many pies should their team make? What do we know about this information? It's a catering, right? So, and she's having to do what? What's she having to do? Make some pies, right? We're just having to make some pies. We're not even worried about that number in there. We just want her to make some pies, right? That's all the information we need to know. Or what your kids may say, well, she's got to make 750 pies, right? Mini pies. So are they big pies or are they little pies? We can get into that discussion. Mini means what? Little. Now, the second reading, we're going to find the problem. So we've read this again. Now, what's the question here? How many pies should the third team make? Man, I got an advanced student over here. All right. So now that we know how many what the question is, I've got to do what? Find an answer, right? And we said that in that finding an answer, sometimes we have to do some difficult things. First of all, we got to think about our number line. I'm going to think of it on a number line because the number line is something they can draw every time. We're going to start with 0, right? I'm going to start with 0 because that's what our number line should start with. And I'm going to think, what do I know? Well, how many did the first team make?
235.
So I know I have to go to 750, right? And I know that my first team, they made 235. That's out of that 750, right? That's still out of that part. Okay. The second team has made how much?
275.
So that's coming out of that, right? So at this point, where are we? Well, I have to think about how I want to do that addition problem, and I did that addition problem, and I said, oh, I'm at 510. And then I put that down on my number line. Now, how much does the third team need to make, right? That's the big question mark. And so for my kids, they're just having to get from 510 to 275. What do we know about 510 if we did another jump of 100? It'd be 610, so that's 100. Keep 100 in your head. Now I'm at 610. Can I go ahead and get to 50 to get to 650? Sure could, right? So 140 more would make 610, and then I would just need another jump. So now it's 240. So my answer, when I did that, would have been 240. So that's one of the ways that we can do a 3 reads problem. I need my kids to be invested in the problem. So I'm going to ask them some information that they understand in the thing. Nothing big, right? Not having them pull out. Then I ask them to just find the question. Then we look at how can I draw that problem out? How can I create that problem? Can I do it on a number line? I will not start out with 750 for my first problem. I'll be honest with you. She probably had to make 50 pies. Because can I do that on a number line? Can I do that in a 100 chart? All of those I can do with something I have there. Then I move on to something like this, right? Smaller numbers, make it easier for my kids to get the understanding, and then we move on to bigger numbers. So just remember that. Guys, if nothing else, love your kids. Okay? Go in this year because Doug says it all the time. They don't care how much you know or how much you're going to teach them until they know how much you care. And that's so true. Thank you guys for being very attentive and willing to get up and do this today.
We love it.